Are you a commission salon or spa owner or a leader on a team looking to make a big impact or a shift in a small amount of time? Well, today we're going to be diving into a topic that really is a game changer inside of any business, but will make a big difference inside of your salon or spa today. And so, what we're going to be talking about today is the difference between context. Whoops versus content. And so when we're talking about this, one of the key drivers that we talk about inside of Salon Business School is setting up your heartbeats to make sure that you guys have the right context. The context is going to be, if you think about like a vase, with flowers. So the context is going to be the vase and the flowers are going to be the content. Or inside of the salon, the context is going to be your heartbeats and the content is going to be the people, the products, the furniture, all of that good stuff, that goes inside of the context. So the context would be your heartbeats, the contents would be all the people and all the things. But also context versus content shows up inside of, just our daily conversations as a leader, and I think if you are a conscious leader, you know that the context is going to be more important than the content of any conversation. So let's just say, hey, maybe you're having a conversation about your finances, that the context is going to be more important. Same with maybe you're going to have a conversation with a service provider on your team about a guest that called back about a service that they received. We know that the context is going to be more important than the content, because truly the context is it's more of like how you're having the conversation versus the content is going to be what you're having the conversation about. So your what's are going to change all the time inside of leadership, but the content or the context, if you're not managing the context of everything inside of your company, that's when you have no culture and you have no rules and you have, no control over, creating a beautiful destiny for everybody around you. And so, I think an easy way to look at the difference between the two is, content. Somebody who's really focused on the content is going to think that things are happening to me. So, this could be like, hey, they do get a guest callback, and like, oh, that person was crazy. Why does bad stuff keep happening to me? All of that. But, somebody who's really controlling the context, this is going to be kind of a buy me type of person. So they're going to be really, really as much as they can be responsible for anything that's going on. And so, I think that the way that these are going to kind of show up in different ways is, somebody who's really focused on the content, they're going to be kind of defensive. So anytime they're in a conversation, they're going to be more defensive. Whereas somebody who's focused on the context, this person is going to just be a lot more curious. So they're going to want to learn more about what could have possibly gone wrong, how could I serve somebody better next time, and so, another way that the context view is going to show up is that they're just really going to be really good listeners. Versus content is, this person has to be right, so like that's going to be the most important thing to them. So, I think that we could keep going through different things, with the curious, they're going to listen, they're going to want to learn and grow, they're going to want to take responsibility, they're going to be open, they wanted to build that trust is basically, I would say, the main driver for that person who's really focused on the context, wants to learn from a situation and grow, versus somebody who, isn't curious. They're all the opposites. So they're defensive. They want to be right. They want to blame other people. They'll withhold information. They'll manipulate the situation. A lot of times this sort of conversation is really built in fear. And so, as a leader inside of your company, you're going to want to make sure that you create a shift. And so you want to help shift somebody's mindset from, the content to the context. And so you're really going to want to, just pause, take a deep breath, and model the shift that you want, to see take place in that situation. So, invite the other person to listen, instead of, speaking the whole time, and to look at this as a situation to learn instead of to be right. And I think also, to just be more revealing instead of concealing. And so I think, when you start to put all of those into play, you really can start to shift the context. And anytime there's that context shift and the consciousness shift, a problem will always resolve. And so, I think Albert Einstein has a famous quote. I'm not going to nail it exactly, but it's something like, you'll never solve the problem from the same consciousness that created it. And so I would just invite you to really look at the context, help somebody else create that shift, breathe, pause, really look at, what is it that we are paying attention to and what do we want to create on the other side? Thanks for watching. If